Nature's Fix. In this series, we are going to discuss about our environment and how it helps us to fix our problems in our lives. Introduction. The cordial air. We have got responsibilities, but beyond that, we are experiencing a mass generational amnesia enabled by urbanization and digital creep. American and British children today spend half as much time outdoors as their parents did. Instead, they spend up to 7 hours a day on screens, not including time in a school. So, we are not like our parents. We are spending more time on screen than we should spend. That means uh, children play games on phones, then they text each other on WhatsApp. Phone phone is a useful device, but excessive use of it can be dangerous, or it can drive away from nature or environment. If a children if a child is spending 7 hours or 10 hours per day on cell phone, so obviously he has no social life, or his social life is digital, or it is on social media, but he or she is not going and meeting people, and like our parents did, they used to go and meet people, and they used to roam around in environment, they used to do farming. So because of this, time on screen has increased. Looking for nature neurons. So in this section we are discussing about new our neurons in our brain, and which are related to nature, called neurons. So first part is biophilia effect. There is an innately emotional affiliation of human beings to other living organisms. That means they are emotionally affiliated, means they are emotionally connected to other living organisms as an evolutionary adaptation, aiding not only survival but broader human fulfillment. So previously survival was a big part. That means surviving from other animals, surviving without food, and finding food for survival was a broader part of human. No specific genes have been found for biophilia. It's well recognized, ironically, some from studies of biophobia or fear, that even today our brains respond powerfully and innately to natural stimuli. That means we were surviving in nature, and according to that, our brain has evolved. So, biophilia and phobia means when we see certain dangerous animals, or we see certain plants, or we see certain dangers in nature, so in our brain we have certain genes or certain neurons which causes this fear of biophobia or biophilia. Example, snake. So after seeing snake, we experience certain fear. That means if we are walking and suddenly we encounter snake, so in our brain, first response that strike is we have to back off. Like when we touch hot vessel, or when we touch a hot substance, for our first reaction is taking our hand behind, or staying away from it. So for snake, our visual cortex picks up snake patterns and movements more quickly. So we can see that Snake move in a pattern. That means it is not walking straight. It moves with patterns, and such patterns and movements. Movements means movement means going ahead, going sideways, going backwards, etc., or staying at the same place. So these are certain movements that snake is doing. So it is first noticed by our cortex. That means our retina. So it means that it is likely that snakes even drove the evolution of our highly sensitive depth perception. So we have some depth perception. That means when we want to jump from a swimming pool, jump in a swimming pool from height. So we see depth. We notice first depth of that swimming pool, or depth of river, or depth of well, or when we go on top of mountain, we see downwards. That means we see depth. We have certain depth perception in our brain. So snake uh, after a snake has certain connections with depth perception of our brain. That means its movements and patterns has certain uh, connection with biophobia, also biophilia, and at the same time of with depth perception of our brain also. Lynn Isbell is anthropologist from University of California. She discovered special neurons in brain's pulvinar region, a visual system unique to humans, apes and monkeys. Primates who evolved in place seething with venomous snake have better vision than primates who didn't evolve in those places. So Lynn Isbell says that there are certain people who evolved in snake infested areas, so they have better perception in their brain than others.